My name is Musa Adnan, that's Michael Dawud, aka Dawi. This is Rerooted, and here's what we have coming up today.
I'd never been so low as when I was high.
Subhanallah.
You know what I mean? I've
Deep.
never been so low as when I was high.
Deep.
You know? I've been there. I'm not to say that, but I know from experience, when I was in that world, everybody was the same. If you're happy, bruv, you don't need to drink. My dad was, before my dad became Muslim, he'd say, right, he'd go, what's this religion, son? What are you doing with this thing, So I goes, Dad, the problem with this religion is that it makes you respect your parents. It makes you give charity. It stops you from drinking. It stops you from taking drugs. It stops you from going out there and having girlfriends. That's the problem with it.
So have you spoken to white people, like some of these guys who are builders, or just
I've
general white
spoken to the most racist, right-wing, EDL extremists that you could find if you went out looking for them.
Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Alaikum salam.
How's things?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, really, really good.
Good.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one, mashallah.
Yeah.
So, Dawi,
Yes.
as you're known by, mashallah, tabarakallah, from Luton.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a revert now for 23 years or something like that. So I count the Ramadans that I've been Muslim. So
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact day. No one does, I suppose, today. So yeah, about 23 years. I'm just an ordinary white working class guy. Grew up on a council estate. Still live on a council estate. Still work a building site job. I'm a plasterer.
Nice.
My trade is plastering. So there's nothing unique about me. I'm Mr. Normal, as it were.
I think everything you mentioned is unique
Oh,
about
plasterer.
yourself.
There's loads
A
of plasterers.
plasterer,
There's
a
loads of-
builder, that's a Muslim,
Oh, is it?
right? I mean,
That's unique for a Muslim.
For a white Muslim.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely the only white plasterer that I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be unique. But as a person, I'm not unique in it. There's many of people like me.
Yeah, mashallah, tabarakallah. So, the way I actually came across you, as you know, is I saw a video of you, and you were, mashallah, speaking very, very passionately about the community, and you were speaking with regards to da'wah, actually.
Yeah.
And how da'wah is needed, and how there's a lack of da'wah towards white people in general, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, I mean, we live in a country, Britain, that is ethnically speaking a white country.
Yeah, predominantly white people are the majority of the population.
Yeah,
So,
so
from that sense, it's white.
If you go outside of London and main areas kind of
Yeah.
thing, in the towns and stuff like that, you'll find it's very white populated.
Yeah, and you can go outside of the towns and the cities, bro, and it's all white.
Yeah.
And people that hold power are probably all white. We might have a few token brown lads in there, but power comes from white people in this country.
Yeah.
And in the world, generally speaking. But I mean,
So how do you feel as a white Muslim now, who's been a Muslim for 23 years?
Yeah.
How do you feel with regards to how da'wah is in the 21st century?
It's definitely come along, because like 23 years ago, nobody gave me dawah. I didn't I did approach Muslims, but nobody actually went out specifically to come and give me dawah, even though I invited them to.
Yeah.
I was looking for a God. Okay, so before I become a Muslim, I used to go and pray on a hill where I live, like a mound. They used to have a children's park on it, but they knocked it down. So I would go and pray there, and I would always look up and pray. And I didn't know anything about Islam then.
Subhanallah.
I didn't know anything about Christianity, to be true. I mean, in my house, although we were supposedly Christian, we'd go to church if you was getting married or getting buried. That's the time we went to church.
Yeah.
There was no church for us, what I'm saying? So not Christian in a sense, but we would go there as a traditional burial, traditional marriage. So I would go there and pray, and I made a prayer that I would go out and find God. I'd look for him. He wouldn't have to look for me. So then I went around. I spoke to some Hindu friends of mine. I had a couple of Hindu lads that I knew. I spoke to some. I knew some evangelist, or like the singing churches. Were very good friends of mine. I went to ask them. I went to ask. I didn't know any Jewish people. I would have asked them, but they just don't live in Luton, where I live, because it's too poor. They live in more affluent neighborhoods. So I asked different people, and I was asking Muslims, but I wasn't getting any response.
Okay.
I was go to Jehovah's Witnesses, and they would talk your ears off. I would go to everyone would have a go at talking. Even though I wasn't going to their scholars, I was still going to who I thought would be able to tell me about it. And I was asking the Muslims that I did know,
Yeah.
why don't you come around my flat at the time I was living in it? Come around my flat and talk to me. And they wouldn't talk. You know, they're just shy to do it.
So it's like you were asking Muslims to give
No, I
you
was
dawah.
telling them 3 times they were meant to come around my flat and have a cup of tea with me and sit down and talk to me. So 3 times we made an appointment, and 3 times they never come. And then so that in the end, I said, look, I'm going to come to your mosque. Because I've read a leaflet somewhere that says that Jesus weren't crucified. And I've seen the films, mate. You know what I mean? He's been crucified because he's been on the telly. You must understand that white people have seen films of Jesus being white, blonde hair, blue-eyed since they were kids and being crucified. You tell them any different to that, it's like, oh, wow. You know, that medium of showing them a white Christian that's crucified is like standard. So I just wanted to go to the mosque in order to ask the Muslims, what's your story about this? What's your story? I don't know. You know, tell me about this side of it, because that's interesting to me. Okay, because as a kid I was always interested in history. You know, which made me interested in, I suppose, religion. Because when you read the Bible or the Quran, it's a history book, isn't it? They cover a lot of history in it as well. So that always interested me. So yeah, I went there. I went to the mosque in East London at that time, and I sat down with this guy was Arab. So it was a mosque full of Pakistanis and Bangladeshis, and about 4 or 5 Arabs, and it was an Arab that sat me down and I ended up taking my shahada that night.
Wow.
And that was in Ramadan.
What I find inspirational about your story, which I didn't know about until now, is, subhanAllah, I think that it's very in line with what we're doing at our era.
Right.
From the sense where we're trying to encourage people to go out there, give da'wah, speak to people, invite people to Islam, right? Invite to the way of your Lord with hikmah, with wisdom, as the Quran tells us to do. And it's in Arabic, there's something known as a fi'l amr, which is a command. It's a command verb that you should do this. You have to do this. Go and do this, right? And your story basically encapsulates this person, yourself, who's trying to get da'wah, who's trying to basically find their purpose in life. And Muslims are shy to give you that. Muslims are shy to tell you.
Yeah, but they didn't know how to.
From your perspective, I mean, you live in Luton, and Luton, for anyone that knows about Luton, is a very Pakistani populated, a lot of Bengalis, right? From my experience, more so Pakistani populated place. I mean, what's your experience with living in Luton currently? Do you still see that kind of shyness with regards to Islam? And
it's better.
Okay,
it's better. Obviously, in time, there's a general morphing of communities, isn't there? But it's still separated, and still there is no. There's no dawah towards English people, and I believe the reason for that, personally speaking, I'm not an expert on these issues, but the reason for that is because Muslims generally are people of colour, whether they're black or brown or some type of a shade, and they always see white people as it's not really for them. They're shy to give, even though they'll say, this religion is for the world, it's for the humanity and everything else, but they don't translate that, they don't communicate that over. So they'll be happy to give a dawah to say to a young black lad or black lady or someone from the far east.
Maybe they'll feel more comfortable.
They feel more comfortable with that, So, but when it comes to giving it to white people, they're a little bit standoff, a little bit, oh, maybe he's not interested. And the same applies then to the white community. The white community would think that Islam is a religion for them. It's not a religion for us. It's not. Which is why when white people find out that you're Muslim, they're more shocked than what you are.
What kind of reactions do you get?
It varies
from colleagues and stuff like that. That you're a Muslim.
Colleagues,
like
on building sites.
On building sites. I mean,
I thought they were workmates, but
well, workmates, colleagues. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with colleague. Right. It varies. I mean, mostly, surprise is common. But before you go into your colleagues at work, you got to understand your family. You got to go and tell your mum or your dad if they're alive. You got to go and tell your girlfriend if you have, at that time you might have a girlfriend, your brothers, your sisters, your immediate friends that you hang with, and you chill, like your friends, your friend circles. It varies from it'll pass. It'll pass.
It's just
you'll get over this. Yeah, give them 6 months, a year. We'll be through this one. That's a common thing. Some people are a bit more like, what do you want to do that for? What do you mean you can't do this? What do you mean you can't do that? Well, and there's a bit like, well, why would you do this to yourself? Why would you put yourself in a position where you can't do everything?
I think one of the things I've seen in you, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but with you, mashallah, tabarakallah, it's you really encapsulate what you're saying, which is basically that you're saying about how Islam is seen as like this foreign thing to white people, right?
Yeah.
And the way you talk, the way you are, etc. Like, and the way you look. If a Muslim saw you
Yeah.
on a building site, especially,
Yeah.
right? You have the stereotype, like building site,
Yeah.
cigarette, cup of coffee.
Yeah. I don't smoke, bro.
Whatever. No, but I'm saying this is like.
But I understand. Yeah, it's the
stereotype.
John the Builder. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a stereotype.
Yeah.
But seeing that person, obviously with that cigarette, right? Maybe with a coffee.
Definitely
right?
with the coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. As a Muslim.
Yeah.
is fascinating, even for Muslims, whereas they shouldn't really be fascinated with that, because if you truly believe Islam is a way of life, and as Allah says in the Quran, وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ, that there was a guide for all people, right? And all people encapsulates white people, black people, brown people, Chinese people, whatever people there are, it encapsulates them. Yeah. I'm using the word encapsulate a lot today.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll go with it, bro. I'm going to start using it myself now.
We'll go with it, right?
I'm not the only one that's going to use it.
I'm just realizing now.
Yeah.
It's a new word.
Yeah.
So when you see that,
yeah,
our mentality is, it's true.
Yeah.
And it does seem familiar what you're saying, you know, where we will feel more comfortable to speak to people from, I don't know, like Christian Arabs or like black people who are non-Muslims, etc. And if we're speaking about race, but the white person is maybe seen as a foreign thing.
Well,
to
I
this.
can't tell you how many times I've been in a mosque, okay, and this is the question that all white reverts will tell you that they get. Where you from? Where you from? Okay, I'm from Luton. No. Where you really from? I'm really from Luton. No. Okay, where's your father from? Well, he's from Luton too. I said, no, where's origin? Where's his origin? Okay, but you tell me where you want him to be from, and we'll put him from there, yeah? You know, we can be from anywhere. Because they can't grip that you're a Muslim and you're white.
Yeah.
In a mosque, today, I could go to a mosque today and find that experience. Every white revert has found that experience.
You think that doesn't happen?
No, that happens every day. If I go to the mosque 2 times in a day, for an example, yeah, that will probably happen three times in a week. Or outside of a mosque, in you know, coffee shop or chicken and chips or something like that, you know, are you Muslim? Are you Muslim, brother? Okay, where you from? Okay, I know where they're getting at. Oh, I'm from Luton. I really should just cut the conversation down and say I'm from England. You know, I'm English, bruv. I'm English. That's what you're really asking me. Yeah. Oh, but where you originally from? Where's your family from? But yeah, they're from England too. Ah. And then they're looking at you. They don't want to go it, but they can't help themselves. They're going to say, so where's your dad from? You know, they give that. They want to ask, because I sometimes I tease a little bit. So I'll let you come on, bruv. I'm going to drag you through this. But it's confusing for them to know. It's confusing for Muslims to see you as a white Muslim. And I've been in a mosque after prayer. And people have gone up. We've been in like a, you know, sometimes you stand around in groups and you have a little chat with each other. Yeah. And a guy will come up, Assalamu alaikum. Are you okay? Assalamu alaikum. Bro, what do you think I am doing in here? You know what I mean?
Seriously?
No, bro, all the time. It's all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's all the time. It's not like it's happened to me once, I remember this time. No, it's happened to me, I don't know how many times.
I mean, it's refreshing to get this perspective, because obviously that won't happen to me. It won't happen to some of the other brothers.
Of course it won't, no.
Right? Of course it won't. But it's happening to you, and it's a real thing. So, I mean, let's put the question to you then, Dawi, right? Okay, you're a Muslim now. Been a Muslim, mashallah, for 23 years. May Allah keep you steadfast.
Amen.
How do we give da'wah to our white friends? Maybe Aisha's listening, Muhammad's listening, right at home, Zaid, some Muslim names, right? They're listening at home. They've got some white friends in their class, right?
Yeah.
How do you treat them? How do you give them da'wah? They feel a bit embarrassed, on the back foot, right? I'm a Muslim, stuff's going on in the media. How am I supposed to speak to this white person about this, like, controversial thing about me, which is I'm a Muslim? Okay,
be natural. Firstly, you know, anyone that's acting to what they're not, other people are going to sense the energy off of them, you know what I mean? Be natural and connect with them. You don't have to hit them straight away, brother, let me tell you about Islam, because make a conversation with them, build a sort of some type of a bond between them, okay? They see you as human, they see you as like them. You know, he's just a guy. This guy's got a beard, he's brown, he's got a hat on, but actually he's just like me. He's just another bloke. And once they see that, then you can start connecting them. And I think with white people as well, you can't come across with too much chapter and verse straight away. You know, common sense is the first step. You know, after that you've made some sort of initial contact with them and you've built up some type of a rapport with them. Okay, don't just start hitting them with, you know, you don't believe in God, why not? And don't be overly forceful. You know, giving dawah is a little bit more about wisdom than it is about knowledge. In a sense that you need a certain amount of knowledge, but you need to know how to apply it more than anything, you know. And just whacking them and beating them, sometimes you just got to gauge the person, read the person. Is this person receptive to how I'm talking to them? If they're not, ease it down a bit. If they're the type of person that likes that, then tone it up a little bit. You know, so that just comes with experience. And it, again, what you understand is that white people are just as suspicious of you as you are of them. You know what I mean? So it's your job now you're bringing a message to them, so you've got to break that barrier, not them. It's your job to break that barrier. So if you're going to be suspicious with them and they're going to be suspicious with you, you've got two separate people here, and there's no bridge in the middle. So there's never going to be any, you know, for you to get them to believe in Islam is going to be very difficult if they can't believe in you as an ordinary bloke, which is why I just talk like I talk. What happens, I think, from my experience, from me personally, and what I've seen other white reverts, I think it runs the same for black reverts, but obviously their situation would be a bit more for them. But when you become Muslim as a white dude, yeah, our culture in this country, because black people have a certain culture. If they're West Indian or something, they'll have a certain West Indian food and West Indian culture, which is quite strong. Well, white people is a little bit more sort of general. Okay, like I said, I went to church. If you were dead or you getting married or getting buried, okay. So you tend to become Muslim and you tend to adopt an Islamic culture. So that might, for the most part, be Pakistanified. Is it? If that ain't I don't know if that's a word, but you know what I mean. No, it's not a word, is it?
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
It
right?
makes
Okay,
it
good.
works.
Okay, so you tend to adopt another personality, and you tend to invent a character for yourself.
Change your food.
You change your dress. You change your food. You change your looks. You change the way you talk. You change everything about you until you get to the point where you don't really recognize what's you now. Now, if it's strange for you, how's it going to be for your mum, for your dad, for your brother, for your sister, for your mates? It's going to be strange for them too, isn't it? Because you've totally changed. Because white people they tend to go quite, you know, they come into the religion honestly, you know, they want to, but they tend to overly, you know, change themselves, you know, and then it takes them several years. Sometimes it could take, you know, more than 10 years or so for them to refine themselves. But somewhere in the middle, some of them get lost. You know, they either lose the religion or they maybe go a little bit over the, you know, a little bit, I wouldn't say mad, but, you know, they go a little bit intense. So, you know, it's and this is where Muslims need to help them.
Okay.
You know, the community that are already there, brother, you can take your time, man. If you're happy in tracksuit and t-shirt, wear it. You don't have to wear a hat. You don't have to make massive changes straight away, and then you don't even recognize you.
Yeah.
You know, so the sisters, you know, like the English sisters will start wearing the niqabs like within 6 months of being a Muslim. But then 2 years later, you see all that hijab on. Completely. You know, it's better to take it in manageable steps and maintain your personality. You know, if you're sort of a light-hearted banter type of guy, like I'm a little bit like that, that's your personality, bruv. Keep it. Don't try and act pious.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, how is that stopping you from being pious?
Well, it's not, is it? But that's how they think they have to be.
Exactly.
They have to play a role, so they invent a character for themselves, and then they sort of live to that character, and then they realise that this isn't me. You know, it's not really me.
One of the things that you mentioned, you know, earlier, which I found amazing, is you said that you give da'wah, like on the building site, etc., like every single day.
Every day.
You know, and that's a very confident statement. Like to say I'm doing something every day.
Yeah. And
you're saying you're doing it every single day.
Every day.
What is the driving force of that? Like, what's pushing you to give da'wah like that?
Because I want to. Because there's a need to. There's a need to. You know, this religion, like we said, bro, we all know that this religion is for humanity, but there seems to be a barrier stopping it from going to white people in this country. You know, whether that's lack of experience from the Muslims or it's from both sides, obviously.
So have you spoken to like white people, like some of these guys who are builders, or like what? Just general white people?
I've spoken to the most racist, right-wing, EDL extremists that you could find if you went out looking for them.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's their reaction when they find out you're?
Well, sometimes, see, I play it, like I said, I play it on the person.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes. Now I'm in a canteen full of Jack the lads, you know, builders and bricklayers and chippies and things like this, carpenters, as it were. Okay, so you got to be confident. I'm not really scared of anybody, even though I'm not tough, but I'm not scared of anybody. So I'm a little bit confident.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't tell anyone I'm Muslim. I can work for you for months and months and not tell you that I'm Muslim. But I'll be nice, I'll be polite, I'll be respectful, I'll be helpful, and then I think he's all right. This fella, this Dowie is a nice lad. Then I tell them I'm Muslim. When they start coating off Muslims or they start saying something about Islam, what they've seen on TV, like terrorists and the usual sort of publicity that people talk about, this like, because they don't know I'm Muslim.
What's their reaction like?
Sometimes I get blunt, and sometimes I just start breaking it down, because all hatred is either lack of knowledge or wrong knowledge.
But like they must be shocked.
When they are shocked. Good. So that I use that shock.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I use that back on them, you know. So and then once they realise that, but you're Dowie. Yeah, I know. But I'm Dowie that prays 5 times a day, mate. I'm Dowie that don't drink alcohol. I'm Dowie that you know believes in this religion. So what's the problem? Well, am I different now? Am I not the Dowie that you spoke to 5 minutes ago? I'm the same guy, you know. It's just that all of those things, and you know, then I say to him, you know, the reason I do these things is because I rush to do things that are good. My religion tells me to do things. If your Islam doesn't bring you peace and doesn't make your life better, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
100%,
yeah. You know what I mean? So if I'm going to help you out at work or help you out on the street, I'm not going to say, brother, I'm doing it because I'm Muslim. I'll let you find that. You know, and if I think there's a benefit for for Muslims to tell you that I'm a Muslim, then I'll tell them.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to understand, on the building site, I will learn more by not telling you. I'll let their personality come out. I'll let their racism come out, their ignorance come out, and then I'll.
Have you ever had a time like that?
Bro, I have times like that 3 or 4 times a week.
Seriously? Yeah, where things are said about Muslims and stuff?
Bro, come on, all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
I was working in the site.
This is like refreshing. Yeah, this is like amazing.
In Baker Street.
Yeah.
It was a big building site in Baker Street in London. And on the toilets, once they knew I was Muslim, because they were all West Ham lads and Millwall lads, and they disgusting things on the toilet wall about Islam and things I don't want to go into, but you can imagine. Yeah. Okay. So at that point then, bruv, you know, I know my people. You know, I know what they're like. So I just come out onto the site and offered every one of them out. I fight a lot of you. I walk through the lot of you. I probably would have got tucked in by the first one, but I mean, you got to be like that. I mean, there's
That's
a time.
Like the language that works.
Yeah, there's a time. There's a time to be like
you're
that.
You're basically letting them know, like, you know, I'm just like you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I am you.
Yeah.
But I'm just a Muslim.
Yeah.
And it's the Islam that benefits me, not me that benefits Islam. You know, it brings to me. I don't bring anything to it. You know what I mean? So, but most of the time, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's productive for me. It's I get the message across just fine. And most of them, then, I mean, and if I get if I get a reason, you know, if I get something, I say, you know, I'll give you an example, a real life story. Okay. I was working on a site up in Luton, and we were all white lads. And myself, and we was working on the site, and we was working in an old age pension. We was refurbishing an old age pensioners home, and some little old lady that lives there had fallen over on the street, and some Pakistani lad with a big beard and a hat, stereotypical Pakistani, he picked her up, put her in his car, and drove her to she'd broken her arm, by the way. She'd busted her wrist.
This is like a white lady?
No, she was a white lady. Yeah. He wasn't. He was Pakistani. Yeah. And he drove her, and we come out to the car park, we picked her up, we put her in the reception, and you know, we put a bandage on her and all the rest of it, okay? And this lad here, he was concerned. He left me his number. I said, please, you know, when you call the ambulance, let me know how she gets on. So I said, bro, thanks a lot. You know what I mean? I appreciate your help and everything else. That's nice of you. We thought you was the taxi driver, but he wasn't. He was just a fella that drove past a woman and seen her, and he picked her up, put her in the car, and drove her to the care home. Okay? So I go to the guy, say, see, look at them. Coming over here, picking up our old ladies off the street, driving them to their care homes, caring. Oh, we don't need them. Send them back, mate. You know what I mean? I use things like that. You know, That's
so beautiful.
Yeah, with white people use humour.
Yeah.
I mean, look at them. Hey, coming. How do they think they are? Coming over here, picking up people off the street.
What's the reaction?
No, but they're laughing, but they can see. I say, look, bro, you know what?
They know there's reality to what you're saying.
And I say, you know what? That guy there, he goes home to the same wife, the same bills,
like you do.
the same dinner. He's got the same everything. You know, he's not an alien.
Do you know what's beautiful about what you're saying, Dawi, is because you're basically humanizing Muslims at a time where they're dehumanized.
Well, this is it.
Right.
Whenever you dehumanize anybody, bruv, anything becomes possible.
Yeah.
And history has taught us that.
Exactly.
You know, when they wanted to drop a bomb on Japan, they dehumanized them. Then they wanted to go into Vietnam, they dehumanized them. When they wanted to make the transatlantic slave trade, they used pseudo-science to dehumanize black people.
That's what I'm studying
Everything's
right
possible.
now. I'm studying colonialism, and one of the things that I find powerful about it is when these people were picked up from the West Indies, Jamaica, Moreton Bay, and all of these places, and then they had the Moreton Bay uprisings and Martinique and all of these places, they were dehumanized first. Yeah. Right? First they were dehumanized, and first they went to them and they let them know, we're the civilizing race. Yeah. Right? We're going to civilize you. Yeah. Right? And then they had the ability to kill them even, and it wasn't questioned. It wasn't questioned. Even from some amongst those people who they had brainwashed and kind of made the elite of those people, they accepted it, right? And it's all about dehumanization. Yeah. So what that incident just taught me is that you basically humanize that brother now, and as a result of that, humanize Muslims, and that's an act of da'wah. Where now, the next time they see a sister maybe in niqab, right, where she's like fully blacked out or whatever, and they see a brother with a big beard.
Bro, I get it all the time. The niqab question. I can talk about all of them. Because they also speak about niqab, this, why do you have to wear this thing, why do you cover up? I get all that every day. Imagine that comes up all of the time.
Yeah.
You know, so when we're talking about, going back to the point about dehumanizing, this, I suppose it's obviously the media for the most part that dehumanizes the people.
It plays towards it, yeah.
Well, it's how do you know anything if you're just an ordinary bloke? You either seen it on TV or you heard it on the radio or you've seen it on Facebook or something, innit? Yeah. So there's a media that brought it to you, okay? So when they dehumanize black people, that's still there because we can see black kids starving in Africa and we're sad, okay? But it's kind of normal. It's kind of we're a little bit numb to it, unfortunately. You know what I mean? If you used to see a white kid, it's massive news. Not that it shouldn't be news, but I'm saying like. One life still seems to be more important than the other, if you know what I mean. You know, you know, it still seems to be that way. And so, if they need to destroy, I don't know, I want to get into conspiracies. I don't really go down them roads. But if you have an agenda against a religion, for example, you have to dehumanize the people in that religion. And for the most part, they are people of color with Islam. You know, I say unfortunately, but I would like to see white people in it as well. As much as,
of course you would. I mean, because that's your people, right?
Well, not just because it's my people, because when white people get involved in things, bro, things move. We took Christianity, and now everyone's got it. That was from the Middle East. As soon as the Romans got hold of it, now America, you know, it becomes the white religion. They've whiteified it, innit?
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah, you know, so we don't do things by halves. You know, there was always slavery in Africa. There was always slavery. The East African slave trade was going on for 700 years before the transatlantic slave trade. We just did it on an industrial scale. I mean, we just did it bigger.
It like into millions,
we just did it, you know.
They say they're from like 10 million to 100 million slaves were transported, right? Yeah.
Well, I think it's 100 million a year or something. I don't know the exact figures. It was a crazy figure. Yeah, so... So when we so there is an agenda to dehumanize, and my whole thing is that these people are just like you. They are you. I'm you. I was you 5 minutes ago. What's the difference? Yeah, you know.
And what kind of results have you had from? Have you ever had people becoming Muslims or like
no, I mean,
at least interested or like their minds are open a bit?
You know, I've had people that have you know, because then at that point you've opened the door to talk about the religion.
100%. Yeah.
Now the door is open, and they'll start engaging in questions. They'll even start asking you a question. Say, okay, well, what about that then? Okay, now your job's easier. You understand? Once they start asking you, your job's easier. You can start answering the questions. Yeah. But you've had to open that. You had to put the door in front of them and open it. And now once the questions start coming through, your job becomes easier. Now you can start explaining the religion to them. You know, what's so different about it? I'll tell you what, you know, and I said to my mum and dad, because actually my when I become Muslim, I moved out of my then girlfriend's house back into my parents' house, okay? And after a year or so, my mum and dad become Muslim. Wow. And then my eldest boy's child become Muslim, then her sister become Muslim, then their husband become Muslim, and then it kind of spread out
Allahu Akbar.
A little bit. That's
yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my dad was before my dad become Muslim, he'd say, right, he'd go, what's this religion, son? What are you doing with this thing, you know? So I goes, Dad, you know, the problem with this religion is that it makes you respect your parents. It makes you give charity. It stops you from drinking. It stops you from taking drugs. It stops you from going out there and having girlfriends. That's the problem with it. There ain't no problem with this. You know what I mean? If your kid come home to you and said, I'm not going to go out and do drugs, I'm not going to go out and drink.
I'm not worried about him.
But what am I worried about? Yeah. Why am I afraid of this thing that's only making him do good things? You know, why am I afraid of this thing that's only bringing a benefit to him? He used to go, because he would come out to go to the toilet early in the morning, and he would see me praying in the bedroom. You know, the hallway light would be on, and I wouldn't turn the bedroom light because it's too bright. And he would come to me the next day, go, you used to be coming in at this time, and now you're getting up to pray. You know what I mean? So he would see that side of it, and he'd say, well, there's nothing wrong with this. And then my dad started looking into religion, and then he died about 2011, and we give him a janazah, and it was nice. You know what I'm saying? Big turnout for him, mashallah. Yeah.
Amazing. And you know what, this reminds me of the ayah in Surah Talaq, where Allah says, رَسُولٍ يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ مُبَيِّنَاتٍ لِيُخْرِجَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. That Allah sent the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take those who believe. So you have to believe to take those who believe from the darknesses that they were in into the light, right? And your father, rahimahullah, he clearly saw that, right? He saw the light where he sees like you were this person like this, right? and now you're like that. So like your actions showed him, and subsequently he also became a Muslim, and your whole family. What would you say the main thing has been to bringing your family to Islam? The main thing that has appealed to all of them, if you were to put one common fact, is it the fact that you changed?
No, I think it's it's not the fact that I changed. It's the manners.
Yeah.
You know, they're just the character. You know, when they see, because they're non-Muslims and they're white, there's a suspicion about them. But most non-Muslim white guys on building sites, they're decent lads. They're family guys. They're decent guys. They're not aliens either.
Yeah. No, it's just because of what they've been fed.
Well, of course it is. Yeah, you know, they're a product of their environment and the information that they've been fed.
Yeah.
You know, if you've always been fed that white is better than brown or black,
you would
then
probably think
why
that.
wouldn't you believe it?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't you think that way? I mean, you know, everything is. It's the opposite. It's like it's positive reinforcement for them and negative for everyone else. But why wouldn't they believe it? So for me, I think it's character and behaviour. And you know, and with these guys, you know, they just need to be told. Like I said, there is a difference between hearing about something and knowing about something.
Yeah.
You can hear about something. I mean, you know about it. But I heard about rocket science. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't build you a rocket. You know what I mean? Yeah. So loads of people have heard about Islam.
Yeah.
Not that mean they know about it.
Yeah.
Because what you heard from the news, from ISIS or from this group or from this terrorist or something like this. Okay, you've heard of Islam, haven't you? Yeah, I know about Islam. What do you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
What? Well, it's them, innit?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's them. I was speaking with she was a mature lady. She was retired, private headmistress of private schools, high level schools.
Yeah.
Posh schools.
Okay.
All right. She retired. Lovely lady. I mean, she's a really nice lady, older lady, mature. And I was talking to her, and she's very educated. She's got a very nice English accent and that. And we got talking a little bit about religion, okay? And she didn't know that Muslims believed in angels. You've been teaching the people that are leading us. You're the teacher of these high private schools that's been teaching the people that are going to lead us, and you don't know that Muslims have angels. So if she doesn't know, what's John the Chippy going to know? What's Dave the Painter going to know?
I mean, that's a fundamental belief. That's one of the pillars of
Iman. They don't know that. Don't think because they've heard of it, they know about it. So we have a responsibility to go out and tell them about it. We have a responsibility to connect with them. You know, all these projects where we go out, Muslims do so much good, okay, in the communities, never gets highlighted. Bad news sells. Hate. There's money in hate, you know what I mean? Okay? When Muslims go out and do the charitable projects like feeding the homeless and all the it doesn't get, there's no exposure. Why ain't that seen? Why is it when, you know, 5 Muslim youths do this, but you get like 5 or 10 football lads do that? It's just football fans. Their ethnicity and their religion isn't brought into that, is it?
Yes.
But it's brought into it if they're Muslim. So this negative publicity, we just got a bigger job of countering it. You know, we were up for the fight. You know, we're up for that battle of countering it. We wouldn't be giving it up if we wouldn't, would we? You know what I mean? Yeah. You know.
So Dawood, tell me, what was one of the main things that you struggled with when you became a Muslim?
Changing too fast.
Okay.
Yeah, changing too fast. Going from sort of not knowing anything to there should be a structure. Okay, we need structure. Anything that you do, you've got to have structure to do it. Yeah. Firstly, I was taking information off of every Tom, Dick and Harry. Yeah. Everyone becomes a scholar. They know that you're a white Muslim, they're a scholar. Everyone wants to teach you something, okay? So you wouldn't do that in any other walk of life. If you was learning medicine, you wouldn't just go up to anyone and start to, you're going to be a doctor. Let me tell you about this. No, you need to learn it in steps. Like anything that you learn in a college or university, in school, you learn it in steps and you learn it in stages, and you take your time and you process it as you go along. I was picking up information from everybody all of the time, you know. I know that their intention was just to help me. They was excited and they was enthusiastic to teach me or say, but sometimes it don't help. Okay, so the reverts need to go. There needs to be something in place for them. I'm sure there is stuff, but there needs to be something in place for them where they can actually structure their learning and take their time and step at a time. Yeah. The second thing that for me, you know, all your behavioural patterns change. Your social circles change. Your look changes. Yeah. I mean, there was a time when I had a long beard down to here, and it changes. And you know, like I said, sometimes you just got to be you, and you stop being you. I stopped being me for a little while, and that caused me a bit of confusion. I was like, this ain't me. Why can't I be Muslim and me? If I'm Muslim, doesn't mean I have to be someone else. No, you can still be you. You're still you. You just don't swear. and you just don't do the.
You've got principles that you live by.
That's it, yeah. And that's it.
Certain principles.
You don't have to be someone. You don't have to put on a facade. You know, you don't have to invent a character and live behind it. You can just be you. And I think that takes time, a little bit of maturity, and it also takes wisdom from the people that have been in the religion a little while, like reverts that have been in the religion, to sit with the reverts and say, brother, just, you know what I mean? It's okay. Do this in stages. And there was a stage as well where I because you're idealistic and you're gonna make mistakes. It's human beings, you know. 100%. We all sin. I sin every day, I suppose, definitely. So, but then as you revert, they squash you because you hold yourself in this esteem. You want to be like the Prophet ﷺ. You want to be like, but you can't. So you let the sins overwhelm you, and you become disheartened, and you become like, oh God, no, I didn't. You know. So you become. So that can be a bit pressurizing too. You know. Rushing to get married. You know, anyone that's been, I know brothers that, I'm not married at the minute, but any brother out there that's been Muslim for less than 5 years, don't get married. Wait 5 years. I know, I'll wait 5 years. I don't blame you. I don't want to wait 5 years. But you got to find yourself. Yeah, it's a long time. But you got to, I'm only saying that because in that 5 years of you becoming Muslim, a new Muslim, you got changes to make. You got adaptations to accept yourself. You understand? You got to find your path and settle down and sort of get yourself some stability. I mean, not 5 years for everyone. I'm just giving a number. It could be less.
Basically, when you're ready.
Yeah, when you're ready.
When you're stable.
But don't do it too quickly. Because you're making all these changes and you're going to get married to women that you probably don't know very well. And then, you know, that can be problematic. You don't want to get married and then divorce 5 years and 2 kids later, do you? You know what I mean? So you want to sort of keep it, you know, be a little bit patient on that one. You know what I mean? You know, and when I become Muslim at first, I cut off all my non-Muslim friends. You know, that was a mistake. You know, not because I go out and drink with them or anything like that. It was a mistake because how could I help him if I don't talk to him? Yeah. Well, am I selfish now? You know, and all the people around me, brother, Aki, you shouldn't mix with the kuffar and this and that. So I was like, I'm not going to mix with the kuffar. Why don't I tell them? You can't be an enemy and tell them. You have to be somewhat friendly with them, innit? You know, you can't, you know, doesn't mean I have to go out with them and drink like I used to, but I still can tell them. You know, I've got a responsibility to them, haven't I? You know, I believe we've got a responsibility in this country to tell everyone, not convince them, but at least to tell them. Tell them information, not just the heard religion of Islam. You
know, one thing that I've noticed amongst Muslims is that curiosity is a really, really big thing, right? I even experienced it, like, because obviously I grew up as a Muslim in a practicing household, fairly conservative, to be honest with you. And there's things that you, like, for Alhamdulillah, and it's not a temptation for me, Alhamdulillah, but I've never drunk, I've never done any drugs, I've never, like, done any of these things that are seen as the norm to some people, right? But I found in some of our households, some Muslims may be watching this, this is seen as a temptation, right? Even things like other ways of life, they may feel inferior. You know, I haven't gone into philosophy. Atheism. It seems interesting. It seems academic, right? Or Christianity. I haven't looked into it, like, and they feel like because they haven't looked into it or experienced these things, like other people may have, like maybe you have, right? You're firm because you know you've been there and done that and you know what it's about, right? But for a person who's never been there, never done that, there's this curiosity. What would you say to a person who's going through that currently?
Bro, look, it's better to leave it in your head than it is live it out. You know what I mean? If that's a curiosity, it's a curiosity firstly from the shaitan, because there's no life better than Islam. Okay,
and you can say that from experience.
I can say that. Look, if it was so good, I'd still be doing it. You know, I'd still be out there drinking. I'd still be out there popping pills. I'd still be out there getting on it. I'm not doing it because I didn't want to do it then. I've been high on, let's say, ecstasy. When I used to go raving. I'd pop a few of them. Yeah, I'd never been so low as when I was high.
Subhanallah.
You know what I mean? I've never been so low as when I was high.
Deep.
You know, I've been there. I'm not to say that, you know, but I know from experience, when I was in that world, everybody was the same. If you're happy, bro, you don't need to drink. Drink's a depressant anyway, but by the way. And in my house, in an English house, drink is like curry to you lot. You know what I mean? We don't do anything without drink. Okay? We don't do nothing without drink. Someone comes around, have a drink. Birthday, have a drink. Something decent on telly, have a drink. You know what I mean? Everything was drink. You know, at the age of, I don't know, probably 6 or 7, I was drinking. Actually, they put whiskey in my bottle to send me asleep.
Way.
My mum would put a nip of whiskey in my bottle. Probably get done for child abuse at these days, wouldn't you? But then, that was like, they put a nip of whiskey in my bottle to knock me out at night so I'd sleep. My dad would have some of his friends around when I was probably, 7 or 8. He'd call me from upstairs and come down here, son. He'd pour me a glass of whiskey. I'd drink the whiskey in front of his mates. stay a few minutes, go upstairs, out of my head, drunk. My son can drink, see. When he's 18, he'll be all right. He'll be able to handle it. It was just a culture back then. It's a different world back then. You know what I mean? It was like a long time ago. I'm 49, so it was a long time ago. But drink was just everywhere. I didn't miss, for the first, actually, I stopped drinking 3 days before I went to the mosque. You know, I said I went to the mosque and I said, you know, this Muslim lot, they don't drink. Okay, so I'm not going to drink out of respect for 3 days before I go to that mosque and ask him the question. Wow. And I didn't drink after. Since I didn't drink after that, you know. I didn't eat pork since I was about 19, 17, 18 or 19. No one told me about Islam or Judaism or anything like that. I don't like this animal. I don't like the taste of this. Something about that meat didn't taste right to me. In fact, before I was a Muslim, I was actually a vegetarian. I'm not far from a vegetarian now. I don't eat a great amount of meat, but I didn't eat pork. But, you know, all of these, I can bring you bloke after bloke after bloke in his 40s who will tell you that's a waste of time. That drinking and pill popping and sniffing, it's a waste of time. Don't do it. And now they get in the later years, they don't do it. They don't. Even if they're not Muslim, they've abandoned it. You know what I mean? Because it's done nothing but bring them grief. So, look.
So essentially, what our thing is, look, you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
Be proud of it. You're upon the truth. You were raised in a family like that's upon the truth. It's a blessing. Yeah. Right. Just because you haven't gone through the trials and the fitan and like the issues, right, and the tests of having, you know, like maybe some of the things you went through in your life, doesn't mean you desire it, right? And essentially, get out there and share that blessing with other people. Yeah. Right. I like to compare Islam, the blessing of it, to being born as a millionaire, right? Yeah. I mean, people who are born as millionaires,
a billionaire now,
or like billionaires, right?
Think big.
You're never gonna see them say, "I wonder how it is
being poor,
to be a homeless person on the street with nothing."
I wonder what it's like to be a white van driver.
Yeah. I mean, and even if it's curiosity, they'll do it for 2 days and think, "Oh, this is nonsense,"
because they can change back.
Exactly.
They can change their life back again. We can't. They can change down. We can't change up.
I mean, Islam is more valuable than that because money is something. It doesn't bring you that contentment in the heart, right? And we don't need to speak about that. That's a given. We've spoken about it so many times. Islam gives you that contentment, and you feel that every day as a Muslim. Why would you not want that for other people? You know, there's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that one of you has not believed until he believes, until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself, right? And Imam al-Nawawi, you know, the great scholar, he commented on this hadith, and he actually mentioned that this brother is brother in humanity, right? And this khair, right, this good, that's being spoken of is the good of Islam. Yeah, it's the best good that you can have. So you should wish Islam for your brother in humanity. Yeah, right. And it's the best thing that you can have. And we feel shy to have that good, bro.
Bro, it's the most selfish thing in the world. Okay, to have something that's as beautiful as Islam and it's free and not give it to someone else.
Subhanallah.
It's the most selfish thing you can do.
So what would you say? I mean, to conclude, I want to conclude, right? What would you say? Because it's been a very powerful podcast. You know, Jazakallah khairan for coming down, taking time out of your busy schedule. You know. What would you say to these Muslims out there? You know, that's your camera. What would you say to these Muslims out there that are complacent? They're shy to speak about their religion to other people. They're shy to let white people know, right, about Islam, or like any non-Muslim know about Islam. What would you say to them?
Bro, just approach them. They're human just like you. You know, if you got to build a bridge and you got to make a communication and tell them you've got something that they haven't got. Okay, it's selfish of you not to tell them. Okay, of course you need a little bit of wisdom in delivery. You can't just, you have to be a little bit wise on how you do it. But tell them, you know, you're both human beings. You both breathe the same air. You drink the same water. You know, you live under the same sky. You know, so if you're shy to tell them, don't be. Just look. I only don't tell people for a reason. They always end up knowing, just because when I'm white in a building site, the racism and the anti-black or anti-Asian.
You wait for the right time to do it.
Yeah, I'll let them roll with it. I'll let them roll with it. I'll let them expose their personality. Then I can do. But it's only ignorance, and all ignorance is lack of knowledge. If they don't like Islam, it's because they don't know about it, or they've been given the wrong information about it, which is most likely a mix of the two. They don't know, and they've been given the wrong information, so they don't like it. Yeah. Okay, so your job is what? To
clarify.
Give them the right. Yeah, that's it.
Clarify,
it's an easy thing, and then if they don't accept it, it's not your problem.
Yeah, it's not your problem. Our job is just to convey.
It's just to try. Yeah. It's just to give the message, and that's it. And I think that's another thing is that, you know, when you're a new Muslim, you are invested in convincing them. No, you should be invested in telling them.
Yeah, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, and convincing them isn't your job. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, it's just about that. That's the advice that I would give on that point there. I wouldn't I wouldn't be shy to say, bro. You know, it's free. They don't know. They hate Islam because they either don't know about it, or they get the wrong information about it, or a mixture of the two. Okay, and that's it. So, and there's a shyness between, let's say, brown or black or whatever Muslims to tell white Muslims. To tell white non-Muslims about Islam. They're just shy. There's like a shyness in it. I don't like it. I think we mentioned before something.
Yeah,
there's a superiority. Some people have inferiority complex.
Do you know what I see? Like, I'm at university, and what I see is that people are like, I mean, I've given my Instagram out to, or like, there's one guy I came across, and I mean, when I go into uni, I'm just in uni and I come out, right? He doesn't know what I am and if I'm religious or not, right? You don't see me pray or anything. So this guy, like, I gave him my Instagram, and I knew, like, if I've given him my Instagram account, he's gonna know everything what I'm about, right? He's gonna know this guy's religious. This guy does like this, what we're doing right now. Maybe he'll watch it, and maybe he'll see what Islam is about, kind of thing, right? So I gave it to him, and he follows me, and he likes my stuff, and he checks it out and stuff, which is a good thing, right? And that's kind of my way of telling him, and that can be my way of telling him, or giving him dawah, right? And after that, like, he's had conversations with me. He's followed other people that I like, another person that who's in the dawah, who I'm in touch with, right, and whatnot. And this person is now going to get exposed to Islam and what Islam is about. And then it sets me up to speak to him in a nice way, yeah. Whereas you don't need to make it awkward where you're in university, because I know how it is. When you're in university, you don't want to look like that weirdo. You don't want to feel out of place, right? Everyone's talking about, you don't want to feel out of place.
Everyone wants to blend to a point.
You want to blend in, right? Human beings in general, we want to blend in. Right? That's how we are, and we want to be in a society, and that. But Islam encompasses that, right? Where Islam tells you to spend time with people who are good people, right? Blend in with those people. Don't blend in with the bad people. So when you're in uni, you want to blend in. However, one of the things that I've seen is, you can blend in, but also in a subtle way, let people know what you're about. Get to know people first. Once you know people, once you know people and you're in a group and whatnot, I'll give you an example. Like, sometimes in university, you may be put into peer groups where you have to work with each other, and there's maybe some girls in there. There's some girl in that group, right? And you're working with those females, etc. Obviously, you're keeping your distances as a Muslim. But let's say they say, and it happens, definitely happens. Oh, guys, you want to go down to like the pub or like for a drink afterwards and whatnot? They do that sort of stuff. Or do you want to go out on a night out or whatnot? Why don't we all do it? That's like a perfect opportunity to let them know. Oh, I don't do that stuff, right? Well, why don't you do that stuff? I'm a Muslim. Right, and to be honest with you, Islam lets us know that stuff is not good for you. It's not good for your soul. It affects your soul, and you can make it even humorous. You guys try it. You guys tell me, right? If it's good for your soul or not, right? And they're gonna know deep down, and even if they don't know right now, as they keep doing it, they're gonna remember what you said one day. And I was told this isn't good for, and maybe that's that feeling that I'm feeling, right, of emptiness.
But I can tell you from experience, mate.
Yeah,
I've been there. I've done that. I've lived that. You know, I'm not going to say I was like, but I've done the drinking and the recreational drug taking. I've done it. I've done all that. You know, and I was, like I said, I was never happy doing it. Not only just me. Oh, well, that's you, bruv. Yeah, but everyone around me, from that generation and all the way through. Then none of them were happy. I wanted to just forgot to touch on another little point. There is a thing from the Muslim community, from the black and the brown brothers. Okay. We all black and brown or something. If you ain't white, okay, is that white people are evil. You know, there's that type of the white devil type of thing. Okay, now there is that thing that the white man has done so much evil on the planet. Then the white man is then there's some black groups that would propagate the same thing. So like the original Hebrews or whatever they're called,
Nation of Islam as well.
Well, the Nation of Islam and groups like that, they would promote that white people are devils and that. That don't help either, to be honest. You know, if you're calling us devils, you call white people devils, it instantly makes them a bit like, ooh, right then. You know, they don't like us. You know, because and we're not. I mean, if someone called me a devil, I say, well, obviously I'm more powerful than you. Then I'm assuming the devil's more powerful. You're giving me power that you ain't got. You know, we do devilish things. Doesn't mean we're devils. I mean, a lot of the things that white people have done in history has been horrific and devilish. Doesn't make every white, but there's many white people want to know about this religion. I promise you, I know them better than you. I can sense their moods better than you. I sense their body language better than you do. They want to know. They're interested. They're just shy to know. then someone needs to tell them that, you know what I mean? They want to, it's there, okay? You'll see it. If they start coming, they'll come in fast.
Yeah.
But they need to, they're shy, okay? So they definitely want to know. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up, inshallah. But Jazakallah khairan, bro, for coming on the show.
No, it's my pleasure.
I mean, it's been amazing having you.
Yeah, anytime, man.
And your insight has been definitely refreshing and definitely an eye opener.
Okay.
I'm sure that a lot of the Muslims watching at home, and even some non-Muslims, will feel refreshed to hear your words, because we don't always hear a perspective like yours, right? Where you're on the building site and you mentioned some of the incidents you've had, like of da'wah and stuff. We don't hear that perspective.
One guy on the building site, an electrician, he knows it's Ramadan because his Pakistani neighbours bringing food round.
Wow.
Curry. So he said, I like Ramadan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Chuck them a curry, bruv. They love it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So love all that. It's community techniques. Building. Yeah, little things like that help in it.
Inside techniques. Yeah, but this perspective has been really, really good. So Jazakallah khairan for that. Bruv.
Anytime.
And we leave it at that, inshallah. Cool. We look forward to speaking to you in the future as well, getting your insight again.
Yeah, anytime. Inshallah. Just give me. You got my WhatsApp. You can text me or call me anytime.
Definitely.
I'm around,
inshallah.
Bruv,
May Allah bless you, bro. And brothers and sisters, on that note, that has been Rerouted. I'm not sure which episode we're on right now. Do forgive me for that, but make sure you listen to us on the major podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts. That's the good. You use an iPhone, right?
Yes,
that's good.
I'm a builder, not stupid.
Come on, guys. See what I'm saying? I never said it, right?
I can read as well.
For the people that are still, finding themselves, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Check us out, inshallah, and make sure you subscribe down below. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you on the next one. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Dum dum dum.